Hi everyone, my name is Eunice and today I'm here to give you a project analysis on the Orie. So, this is the facade of how the Orie looks. Doesn't it look grand and also luxurious? So nestled in Payoh, it's going to give you great views throughout the entire development as well. So here are also some facts about the Orie. It is a joint venture by CDL, Frasers Property as well as Sekisui House. It's along Payoh Lorong 1 and it stands at 40 stories across 2 blocks. So the total number of units here is 777. So over here, we have the location of where the Orie is at as well. If you look at it closely, the Orie is actually very near to Payoh MRT station, nestled right in Payoh. There are also some schools that are within 2 kilometers of the Orie. We do have renowned schools such as Payoh Public School, CHRJ Payoh Primary, St. Andrews Junior, Ko-Chan Presbyterian, and Catholic High School as well. So of course, being in a mature estate such as Payoh, you're gonna be surrounded by eateries, amenities, hawkers, coffee shops as well. So if you see where the Orie is at, we're actually just 2 to 15 minutes walk from wet markets, hawker centers, coffee shops as well. So this is Singapore. And you can see that we're actually split into 5 regions over here. We have the West, North, Northeast, East, and of course, Central. So which region is actually Payoh at? So for Payoh itself, we are actually considered District 12. So if you look at just the border of where we are at, we're actually in close proximity to Novena as well as to Newton. From this perspective over here, you can see District 12 right where we are at. We're actually just along the border of the CCR line. So what this means is that you are actually near city fringe, so you get to enjoy the convenience and the accessibility of being near RCR as well as CCR. So seeing as how well connected and accessible Payoh is, if you look at where the Orie is at with just 5 minutes walk to Payoh MRT station over here, we're actually just 1 stop away from Bishan, which is an interchange that brings you to the Circle Line, and we're only 3 stops down to Newton, which brings you to the downtown line. So looking at over here being a 3-stop radius and a 4-stop radius, we're well connected to any MRT station as well as interchange. So now let's also understand Payoh's transformation. So as we all know, the government is trying to do decentralization. So what this means is that we're really just trying to bring away from our downtown to all the heartland areas that we have over here. So over here, we can see we have the Woodlands Regional Centre, we have the Western Gateway, we have the Eastern Gateway, and of course now we have Paya Lebar Central and also Payoh. So you can see that what the government is trying to do here is that we're trying to break away from the core central region and really expand out to other parts of Singapore. So Payoh is an area that the government is also focusing at, because you can see that what they're trying to do here is to remake our Heartland program as one of the incentives or one of the programs that the governments are actually doing to rejuvenate Payoh over here. Payoh is a mature estate, but I would think that now the government is actually trying to introduce a new township here in Payoh as well, which is why we have areas such as Caldecott, we have the Mount Pleasant area, which is near Payoh as well. So over here, you can see that this is what we are trying to do. We do have new introductions of HDBs, many upcoming BTOs, and of course, we have this new integrated development, which is called the Payoh Integrated Development. So it's set to complete by 2030, and it will actually be a combination of sports, healthcare, leisure, and nature into a comprehensive community hub. So this introduction of the integrated development is definitely going to boost the vibrancy of Payoh itself. And also, of course, we do have the introduction of the North-South Corridor. So with the North-South Corridor having egress and ingress along Caldecott Road, you can expect accessibility and connectivity at Payoh to be increased. Now, let's take a look at the supply of private homes in Payoh itself. So we all know that Payoh does not have many private developments. We have Trevista, we have Trellis Towers, we have Gem Residence, as well as Orlando Towers. So these developments itself, if you have a look at when they are launched, in the past 30 years, there's only been 5 launches. So if you look at it from just looking at Payoh itself, you can see that there's definitely a lack of supply of private homes. If we were to put their developments into numbers, over here at this chart, as you can see, I have the TOP dates, the number of units, as well as the tenure. Looking at the total number of HDB units in Payoh, which is estimated to be around 37,900, the total number of units of private homes at its inventory is only 6.5% of the entire residential unit as well. So if you take this into perspective, of course, the number of private homes percentage does look small. So this will be good for private home owners in Toa Payoh, because when HDB upgraders, if they're looking to upgrade to a private home, there's not much supply in Toa Payoh itself. Now let's take a look at Orie site plan as well as unit distribution. So here we do have Orie site plan. As you can see, we are spread out across 2 blocks, 10 stacks at each block. So it is a true north-south orientation. And if you look closely enough, because of how developers actually place the placement of the blocks, most of the units will actually have great unblocked views. The only blocks that are probably looking at each other will be stack 8 over here, as well as stack 18. Other than that, most of the other units will actually have north or south facing as well, which will give you the good views that you're looking for. So this is the breakdown of the number of units. So here is the unit mix for the Orie. So you can see every unit type only has a maximum of 2 stacks. So that gives you an exclusivity and rarity in the Orie itself. Looking at where we are situated, we're actually surrounded by low-rise HDB blocks, as you can see over here. The highest block that you have is actually at 19 stories, but that's actually a little bit more diagonally down. And then the one directly right in front of us is actually only at 4 stories. We have another one at 16 stories, but also that's a little bit more southern side already. And then at the north side, our highest HDB is actually 12 stories here, but that's also a good 90-meter distance away in itself. And then, so here are the views that we have if you were to buy a unit high up at the Orie. So this is actually the southern view. So the southern view here at the Orie actually lets you overlook Toa Payoh as well as the CBD area. So of course, if you look far enough, the CBD area is actually where the flyer is at, where the southern water is at as well. So here at 40 stories high, you really do get quite a good sense of the unblocked view that you get to enjoy here. And over at the north view, where you overlook towards Bishan as well as Ang Mo Kio, you can see as well, because of all the lower HDBs that are around us, we do get quite a good distance of views before we hit another block, even here at level 35. So now, let's look at the layout types here at the Orie. So first up, we have the 1+ study layout. So for the 1+ study layout, there are 2 stacks. We have stack 4, which is facing north, and as well as stack 14, which is south facing. That's your Toa Payoh as well as CBD views as well. So looking at this 1+ study type, it is 517 square feet. What I really like about this layout is that it has a proper dining space. As you can see, there's your own dining area over here. You can comfortably fit a 4-seater dining table, as well as your study that is actually tucked away nicely. So the good thing about the study being tucked away is that you can actually use it as storage if you need. It can even actually double up as a guest room or even a real proper study room given its size. And of course, for the bath that you see over here, the master bath, it is a Jack and Jill bath. So this gives you privacy in that sense that when you have guests over, they don't have to enter your master bedroom. They can easily just enter the bath from the living and dining area as well. So for 517 square feet for a harmonized floor plan, this looks really efficient, and you can see that the developers did a well thought out layout plan for this 1+ study layout. Okay, so now, key thing to note here actually is that the RC ledges of the Orie. So because of how the facade of the Orie looks, to tie in with developers' origami concept, every few levels of the units will actually have differing RC ledges. So over here at block 10, stack 4 that you can see, the RC ledges for levels 2 to 10 as well as 21 to 30 actually is the same. However, for level 11 to 20 and 31 to 40 will have a slightly different shape for the RC ledge as well. So for RC ledges, some people might say that it might be a little bit darker as well as might collect dust. So if for myself personally, actually, if I were to choose between maybe, for example, the 29th floor or the 30th floor, then maybe the 30th floor might be a better option if I didn't want to have an RC ledge over my unit in that sense. Okay, so now, let's also look at the rental yield of 1+ studies in Toa Payoh itself. So pulling in a comparison of GEM residences, you can see GEM residences, like what we mentioned earlier, it is about 8 to 9 years old already. So looking at their PSF of when they first bought the unit at maybe 1,950, if we were to multiply it by 484 square feet, we get a quantum of 943,800. So given the estimated rental that we have over here of $3,000, this gives us a rental yield of 3.81%. So now, if let's put it into the Orie's perspective, assuming that a PSF of 2,500, and if we were to multiply it by 517, that brings us to a quantum of 1.292,500 million. So given an estimated rental of 3,003, so why did I use 3,003? Also because once we TOP, Orie will be much newer and much younger than Gem residences. So generally for a newer unit, some tenants are willing to pay a slight premium as well. And also because we are slightly closer to the MRT station. So this brings us to a rental yield of 3.06%. So while some might argue that this rental yield is not as strong as Gem residences, well, but in Toa Payoh itself, I say if we were to look at the lack of supply of one-bedders in Toa Payoh, getting a one-bedroom here for own stay, renowned developer, and it being brand new are also factors that can be taken into consideration staying here at the Orie. So now that we have looked at the 1+ study layout type in the Orie, let's look at their 2-bedroom layouts. So for the Orie itself, for the 2-bedroom layouts, we actually have 4 different types. So let's analyze each and every one of them. The first type that we have over here is actually a 2-bed, 1-bath. Standing at 592 square feet, it is stack 5, which are the north-facing ones, as well as stack 15. So if you look at the floor plan here, this 2-bed, 1-bath layout, I would say actually many of us do quite like it because it has a tuck-away kitchen. And if you look closely enough, there's actually a window in your kitchen. So most of the times, a lot of 1 and 2 bedders, they're always in the middle of the block, so they don't really have windows in their kitchen. But here, if we were to look at the site plan previously, you realize that instead of just having 4 corner units, developers here actually have 6 units that are actually at the corners. So that means that there are 2 more units that actually have windows at the side. So to this 2-bed, 1-bath is actually one of them. So even at 592 square feet, you can see that there is still a proper dining table at the side where you can still comfortably fit probably a 4-seater table as well. So for stack 5, do note that there are also differing RC ledgers. So the RC legends are just key things to note if you were to select your layout type or facing here at the Orie. So now, let's look at a comparison between the 1+ study, which we saw earlier, as well as the 2-bed, 1-bath at 592 square feet. So assuming developers were to sell at 2,500 PSF, this brings the 1+ study to 1.292,500, as well as the 2-bed, 1-bath to 1.48 mil. So looking at the price difference here of 187,500, personally, I feel that the 2-bed, 1-bath would be something that would actually be the stack that would be one of the most hot selling stacks, because for just $187,500 you get an additional bedroom and you even get a tuck-away kitchen with a window as well. So potentially this stack could be one of the first few to go. So here we have the B2 type, which is the second 2-bedroom type. So we do have it at 2-bed, 2-bath at 646 square feet. So looking at the site plan, we have it at stack 1 over here, which is overlooking the relaxation pool and as well as southern views. And then the other one, which will be stack 11, which is a pool view as well, the 50-meter lap pool, and overlooking to the northern views. Looking at the floor plan itself, it also has a kitchen that is nicely tucked away at the side, making it enclosable if you wish. Personally, I feel that you can actually choose to perhaps enclose the kitchen over here, or maybe even do an enclosable kitchen over here as well. So there are different ways that you can choose to enclose the kitchen if you wish. However, what I don't really like about this particular 2-bed, 2-bath unit is that personally, I feel that the dining area here is a little bit smaller than what we saw at the 2-bed, 1-bath. And also, if we were to look at it closely, because of how the kitchen is at, this area here, actually, there's no glass. So that might also mean that there's not as much storage here as well. Here, this corner over here. So, and also key thing to note, of course, the RC legends will differ on varying floors for this 2-bed, 2-bath unit as well. So that was the second layout at 646 square feet. Now looking at the third bedroom type, which is our B3, which is also a 2-bed 2-bath. Just next to the stacks of the previous one, we have stack 10, similar facing, as well as stack 20, which is also facing the pool and the northern views. So this particular 2-bed 2-bath type at 678 square feet, you'll notice that this is actually a little bit more of the traditional, conventional layout, where it is not a dumbbell. You have your bedrooms all on one side, giving maybe the master bedroom a little bit more privacy as well. You do have an L-shaped kitchen over here, and actually also a proper dining area tucked away at the side. However, based on this layout, it appears that compared to the previous two layouts, there might actually be lesser storage in the kitchen over here. Because of how the L-shaped kitchen is shaped, you might not have storage at the above, you might not have cabinetry space above the kitchen area, and likely compared to the previous two layouts, there might be a shortage of storage. But however, I do feel that the selling point of this layout compared to the other two that we have seen is that you are probably the only 2-bedroom type that is not a dumbbell. So we have 4 bedroom types, 3 of them are dumbbell. So this is the only one that is the conventional layout. So that also brings you a little bit of variety when you were to enter into the resale market as well. Similarly, note the AC ledgers are also different for differing floors. So this is our last 2-bedroom layout, our B4S, which is actually our 2+ study. So it also gives you good views. You are also facing the pool as well as the southern and northern views over here. So this 2+ study layout, it is a dumbbell layout standing at 700 square feet. It gives you a good study. The study comes with an aircon as well, so if you were to choose to enclose it to really use it as a proper study, you can, or even if you want to use it as a guest room, a maid's room, you can as well. The kitchen here, tucked nicely at the side also, it actually comes with glass at the top, so it actually allows for light to come in from the balcony and into the kitchen, so your kitchen won't feel too dark. So it also comes with a proper dining area at the side. So at this dumbbell layout for a 2+ study at 700 square feet is a really efficient use of space. You can see how developers manage to have an enclosable kitchen, a study, yet still have space for a 2.8 meter wall-to-wall distance for all their 2-bedroom types. Similarly, the RT ledgers are also different for differing floors. So over here, I want to quickly just talk a little bit on the harmonized effect. So I think we all know Orie is a harmonized development. So what does harmonized mean? I think everyone's quite aware right now. We are gone with the planter boxes, bay windows. We don't have overly large balconies anymore. And now with harmonized effect, with harmonization, we will no longer see overly big aircon ledgers. So why is this so? Because now developers can only charge you for usable space. So here, let's put a comparison into Trump Park, a development that just launched recently. So here we have their 2+ study layout at 743 square feet, 69 square meters. Side by side, I have put the Orie next to it as well. So both of them are actually 2+ study. One stands at 69 square meters and the Orie stands at 65 square meters. So over here, you can just really see where the numbers are all in. These are all the square meters that we have to really come up with the total figure. So looking at the chart, the table that I've put at the side, you can see living and dining area. If we were to compare the Orie and Trump Park, living, dining, kitchen as well as study, Orie stands slightly bigger at 31 square meters. The master bedroom, Trump Park is a little bit bigger at 12.4. For the master bath, ours is slightly bigger at 5.5. Common bedroom, Orie slightly bigger at 8.7. Same for the common bath and the balcony, Trump Park is slightly bigger at 5.1. So of course, the key thing to note here is that the aircon ledge. It's 0 for the Orie because developers don't put that into their square meters, and it stands at 3 square meters for Trump Park, which comes up to be about 30+ square feet. So if we were to look at the usable space itself, whereby we take away the aircon ledges, you actually have Orie at 65 square meters and Trump Park at 65.8 square meters. So this is what harmonized effect actually means, and you can see how it actually benefits you as a buyer because you're no longer paying for space that you might not necessarily use as well. But at the same time, the amount of space you get, living space, your living area, how you feel in the unit itself, is actually quite comparable to another layout type that just looks bigger on paper. now that we've seen how harmonization has an effect on newer developments, let's look back at our 2-bedroom types. So here we have our B3 type, which is our 2-bedroom, 2-bath at a traditional layout, as well as our B4S, which is our 700 square feet, 2+ study dumbbell layout. So, assuming that developers were to launch at 2,500 PSF, our traditional layout will come up to be about 1.695 mil, and then our dumbbell 2+ study will bring us to 1.75 mil. So this brings us to a price difference of only $55,000. So personally, if you were to just top up $55,000 more, you actually get an additional study as well as an enclosable kitchen. So I do feel that for this price difference that you pay, it is actually a little bit more worthwhile to get the 2+ study layout. So with that, we have come to the 2-bedroom summary of our 2-bedroom types here at the Orie. So looking at B1, 2, 3, B3 and B4S, I have personally ranked them according to what I feel they are best. And actually my favorite would actually be the 2-bed 1-bath. This comes up to first place because I feel that it's really rare to have a kitchen in your window. If we look across all 4 layouts, this is the only one with the window in their kitchen. And even though it's a 2-bed 1-bath, I feel that the dining area, the kitchen is really a good space for a young couple to live in as well, or even a single person. And then actually, for myself, I do feel that the 2+ study comes up to be second place. Even though, of course, compared to the 2-bed 1-bath, the price difference is a little bit big. But if we were to compare the 2+ study compared to the B3 and the B2, I do feel that it is worth that price difference to top up to a 700 square feet 2+ study here. Then I do believe that the third place will actually be the B2 layout, which is our 2-bed 2-bath dumbbell, because it still gives you a good efficient use of space, and quantum wise it might be a little bit more palatable already compared to our fourth place, which is our 678 square feet, whereby you have the traditional layout, so there might be a little bit of wasted space at the corridor area as well, and also of course the lack of storage area at the kitchen. You probably only have under the sink area for your storage. And that would actually conclude what I feel about the 2-bedroom summary here at the Orie. So now, let's look at our 3-bedroom layout types. So for the 3-bedroom layout types, the first one that we have would actually be our 3-bedroom compact C1 at 850 square feet. So the stacks that you see, we have these north-facing stack, which is stack 6, as well as stack 16, the south-facing one. So we do have 2 stacks for this particular layout. So this layout, when everyone initially saw that it was 850 meters, everybody thought like, wow, how is the developers going to put actually 3 proper bedrooms in this layout type, right? So actually, if you look at how the developers did it, it is actually quite clever, I feel. They did it in a dumbbell way, and so you have 2 bedrooms on one side and then a master bedroom on the other side as well. So the key thing here is that if you look at it, the kitchen is actually nicely tucked away at the corner over here. And also, bonus points is that actually it even comes with a store. In many of the new developments today, if you were to look at a 3-bedroom layout, compact size, it hardly ever comes with a store. They don't have a yard area as well. So for developers to have 850 square feet with a store, I feel that's really a key factor here. And yet they still have bedrooms that can comfortably fit queen size in all their other common bedrooms. But of course, unfortunately, I do feel that the bedroom 2, the window here might not be a full window. So then you might feel that it might be a little bit dark at sometimes. And likely the facing of this bedroom 2 will probably be towards the wall of another unit as well. But regardless, looking at how the layout is, I do feel that this layout is something that a lot of HDB upgraders, if they were to look for something that's a little bit more lower in quantum, this is a good entry price for a 3-bedroom here at Toa Payoh itself. And even for investors, if we were to look at this layout, there are some ways that you can do in order to actually increase your investment in a sense, because looking at how developers have put this into a dumbbell layout, right? If you were to actually kind of, if you want to create a partition here, indirectly then you kind of do have 4 bedrooms, and yet you still have a good area for your communal as well as your kitchen and store area as well. So if you were to partition this into 4 bedrooms and if you were to rent it out, actually that might give you a high rental yield of maybe $8,000 to even $10,000, and at a 3-bedroom quantum of this size, that gives you a pretty high rental yield. Now, let's also look at how developers, if they were to price this at 2,500 PSF and at 850 square feet at 2.125 mil, like what I mentioned earlier, this is actually a really good quantum for a lot of families to actually enter into. If you need 3 proper bedrooms and at 2.1 mil, 2.2 mil, this is definitely a safe and good entry price. However, if we were to look at the facing over here, so of course for south facing, we do feel that there might be a bit of a premium as well because you are facing the city and you get a little bit more of the unblocked views. If the premium does go up to a certain level, then there might be a chance that you can consider actually the next stack. So the next size, sorry. So we'll go into that later as well. But first, let's do also a comparison between our 2+ study, which stands at 700 square feet, as well as our 3-bedroom compact, which stands at 850 square feet. Looking at these 2 layouts, assuming we were to go to a high floor of 2,900 PSF for stack 16, which is our B4S 2+ study, at 700 square feet, 2,900 PSF, you get 2.03 mil. At 850 square feet for our C1, multiplied by an average of maybe 2.6 PSF, it comes out to 2.21. So for this price difference of 180,000, you get another additional proper bedroom. Although it might be at a lower floor, then it might also be a consideration for you to maybe go for a 3-bedroom compact. So personally, with this kind of price difference, I would pick actually the 3-bedroom compact layout. And so the thing about Orie, right, is that because we are 40 stories high, you are going to see price difference from the second floor, a large difference in PSF from the second floor all the way to the 40th floor. But I guess at the end of the day, it's really also down to what facing you want, how comfortable you are with the quantum, and whether you feel that paying the additional bit more difference might make sense for you to go for a slightly bigger layout type. So that was our first layout, which is our C1 at 850 square feet for our 3-bedroom compact. So the next 2 layouts that we have is our traditional 3-bedroom premium. We have it at 2 stacks, but they are of differing sizes. Stack 7, which is actually facing towards the northern side, your Payoh, your Bishan, Ang Mo Kio, at 1044 square feet. Stack 13, we have it facing the southern side, which is your CBD area, which we do feel is of course a little bit more of a premium facing. The key difference here in the layouts, as you can see, is really just in the foyer area. C2A, which is the 1044 square feet one, has a longer and wider foyer area, and C2 has a little bit of a narrow entrance area as well. So personally, for people who have a lot of shoes, if you need more storage space at your entrance area, then it might make sense, for you to go for the C2A layout type, because you can definitely build a good size cabinetry over there with a settee here for your shoes, your storage space as well. But other than that, both of the layouts, actually the bedrooms are all of similar sizes. Master bedroom, master bath, common bedrooms, common bath. They all come with a household shelter. They all have a good sized dining area. As you can see, both of them can comfortably fit a 6-seater table as well. And of course, being at the corner of the block, all bathrooms will actually also come with windows. So really, the only difference here is just the entrance area that you see. But now, let's do a comparison between their facing. So looking at the site plan again, so like what I mentioned to you, stack 7 facing north and stack 13 facing south. Even though stack 13 is south facing and it is smaller, we do believe that there is a chance that it might be priced a little bit higher in terms of PSF, because at a certain level, once you clear all the HDB, once you get a good unblocked view, that you might see a price premium in there simply because of its facing. So if we were to look at this, let's do that. Comparing a bigger stack 7 and a premium facing stack 13, so looking at 1044 square feet on 2,500 PSF, it brings us to stack 7 at 2.61 mil. If we were to load a 2% premium on the 1023 square feet, stack 13, you realize that it brings us to 2.608 mil. At 3% premium, it brings us the quantum to 2.634225, and at a 5% premium, we have it to 2.685375. So at this kind of quantum, in terms of the difference, it is then up to you to kind of decide, is it worth paying for to get the higher, better facing, though slightly smaller unit type, or would you prefer to really pay for what you get to use? So now we've come to our last 3-bedroom type, C3DK, our 3-bedroom dual key. So it only comes at 1 stack, which is stack 3, the north facing one. Looking at the floor plan itself, we have it at 1130 square feet, dual key. So for this particular layout, because after all, it is a dual key, I do feel that you have a few options to rent and stay. For example, you can be staying at the 2-bedroom and then, renting out the studio, or you can be staying at the studio and renting out the 2-bedroom, or you could stay in all of them in a multi-gen. Maybe you have one kid and then, you stay with your parents or your in-laws, or you can simply rent all of it out to 2 different tenant profiles if you wish. So the beauty of having a dual key unit is that it really gives you the flexibility as to what you want to do with the unit itself. But at 1130 square feet, it brings us to a relatively high quantum over here, and it might be quite close to our 4-bedroom, which stands at 1216 square feet. So in a sense, if the price difference is a bit more worthwhile, it might make sense to go for a 4-bedder. So this particular layout is not entirely my favorite, but I do like that it gives the flexibility to homeowners to whatever they wish to do. Now we're looking at how we will rank our 3-bedroom. So C1, C2A, C3 dual key as well as C2. My favorite layout will actually be the C2, which is the smaller one, at 1023 square feet. So why I like this layout? Because I feel that it has a really good sense of the kitchen. You have a yard, you have a bomb shelter, you have a WC, and also you're not paying too much for the 10 as compared to the 10441, where you have a longer foyer area. And which is why the 10441 will actually be my second choice. Simply because I feel that extra foyer entrance might not be noticeable enough for the price premium. And then my third favorite layout will actually be the dumbbell 3-bedroom compact. It is a good layout. I like the store area, the kitchen with glass windows, which allows for light as well. So it is definitely an efficient use of space. So our 4th place will actually be our 3-bedroom dual key, simply because I feel that at this kind of square feet and quantum, it might make sense for us to go for our 4-bedroom layouts. So now that brings us to our 4-bedroom layouts here at the Orie. So for the 4-bedroom layouts, we do have 3 different layouts. So let's have a look at them. The 1st and 2nd bedroom type that we have actually both stand at the same size at 1216 square feet. So where do they differ? So for stack 8, which is our pool facing unit, which is D1, you can see that it has a smaller entrance area here as compared to our D2, so over here. Yes. So for our stack 17, which is our south facing unit, we do have a longer foyer area, a longer entrance area in that sense. But of course, if you notice that their facing is also very different. For stack 8 itself, actually, I feel then you might actually see your neighboring unit, which is actually stack 18. But you do get a good pool view here. So for the lower level units, if you do like, seeing the water, if you like the pool view, then yes, this might be something that you can consider as well. Then of course, if you do go higher up, you will see your opposite neighbor, but at the same time, you still get a good unblocked view towards the side as well. Whereas for stack 17, as you can see, it gives you unblocked south facing once you clear the other HDB blocks over opposite us as well. So for this D1 and D2 layout, what I do like about it is that both of them come with a dry kitchen as well as a wet kitchen. They also have a separate yard as well as a bomb shelter. So this, for a family of 4 bedrooms, if you have 3 kids, 2 kids, having a good sized kitchen is really important. Likely you will have a helper, and if you do have a helper, the helper has a comfortable space in the yard area as well. And of course, the bedrooms as well as the balcony are all the same facing. So maybe the only thing I feel that could have been improved on this 4-bedroom layout was that maybe if developers were to do it in a landscape mode instead, because now the wall-to-wall distance here stands at 3 meters. So you can see that most people in a 4-bedroom, they generally prefer a larger landscape kind of size or some kind of feel. So this one at a portrait living and dining area, some people might not be in favor of it. But if you look at both of the unit types, they can actually comfortably fit a 8-seater table over here, and I feel that is definitely sufficient enough and great for big families. Even if you like to host, you definitely still have ample space in the living, dining, balcony area for you to host your friends and families as well. Now, looking at just look at, let's say for example, stack 17. If we were to compare it to stack 3, which is also the outward facing one over here, which was our 3-bedroom dual key at 1130 square feet, let's do a comparison. So looking at stack 3, which is our 1130 dual key, as well as stack 17, which is our 4-bedroom, both of them are facing outwards. Let's compare them, assuming that stack 3 at a certain level, you might hit a higher PSF of, let's say, 2,750, and that will bring you to a quantum of 3.107500. For our 4-bedroom 1216, if we were to be, of course, at a lower floor, that could bring you to be about 3.04 mil. So looking at this, there is a price difference of only $67,500. So even though you might be on a much lower floor as compared to the 3-bedroom dual key, it might still make sense for you to go for the 1216 layout, simply because you do get a proper living dining area, you do get an additional bedroom, you don't need maybe the additional kitchenette area as well. So if you are willing to be on a lower floor and maybe sacrifice on the views, this 4-bedroom type might actually be better than the 3-bedroom dual key that we were looking at previously. So that was us comparing our traditional 4-bedroom type to our 3-bedroom dual key. Now let's look at the third 4-bedroom type, which is our 4+ study at 1367 square feet. So looking at its facing, it is actually stack 18, north facing, but at the same time you do get similar pool view as well, and of course if you go high enough you will get a good unblocked view in that sense. Looking at the layout type, as we can see over here, this 1367 square feet actually has a wider wall-to-wall distance at 3.6 meters over here. We also have a dry kitchen and a wet kitchen area. And in fact, if you look at how this layout is as compared to the previous 4-bedroom unit, you realize that this dining table can actually be in a landscape kind of way instead of portrait, simply because we do have a wider wall-to-wall distance here that can accommodate this kind of positioning of the dining table. So we do have a store over here as well. If your home shelter was to be occupied by the helper, then you do still have additional storage here at the small store. So this particular 4+ study layout at 1367 square feet, it is a traditional layout, efficient use of space. But however, if I were to compare this actually to our last unit type, which is our 5-bedder, so we'll also look at the numbers just to see whether at 1367 square feet for a 4+ study versus our 1453 5-bedroom, whether it makes sense. So if we were to assume 2,500 PSF for both unit types, you can see that the price difference stands at 215,000. So now that might seem like quite a big quantum over here in just to have an additional study area or to have a larger living and dining area. But let's look at the 5-bedroom in detail later just to see how it compares and whether it's worth paying for. So now rounding up our 4 bedrooms, we have our D1 1216, D2 1216, and D3S 1367. So personally, why did I put the D2 layout, which is stack 17, south-facing one, as my first choice? Simply because of the entrance area as compared to D1. You know, when you open the door, it gives you a little bit more privacy. You're not looking directly into your living and dining area as compared to the stack 8 pool-facing D1 unit, you know, the one where you open the door and it immediately looks through to your living, dining, as well as your balcony area. So personally, that's why I would pick D2 over D1. And then my last choice would be the 4 plus study layout, which is 1367 square feet, simply because, just because it's a little bit wider at 3.6 meters, and the extra study area, it might not make sense, you know, to pay that kind of a price difference. So I also feel that likely D2 and D1 will be the first few stacks to go in terms for the 4-bedroom as well, before the 4 plus study slowly starts to move. So now let's look at our last bedroom type, which is our 5-bedroom layout here at the Orie. So looking at the site plan, you can see that we do have 2 stacks for the 5-bedroom type. We have stack 2, which is the south-facing one, and yet you also have the pool view as well as good unblocked views. We do have stack 12, which you get to see the pool as well, and also, of course, good unblocked views. Looking at this particular 5-bedroom layout, as you can see, standing at 1,453 square feet, it is a very efficient use of space. I like that we do have a private lift over here, which is very rare here at Toa Payoh in a 5-bedder. We do have a wide 4 meters wall-to-wall distance. We also have a junior master here with its very own ensuite toilet. And of course, I like that, you know, your dining area over here can be in a landscape kind of mode, so you can sit, you know, 8-seater, 10-seater as well. You have a good dry kitchen area, you know, with plenty of countertop space. You have a wet kitchen, a bomb shelter, even another door over here, which is your service door. So that gives you a little bit more privacy as well. Also, all our common bedrooms can comfortably fit a queen size bed, and of course the master can fit a king comfortably with still plenty of space for, you know, to maybe have a dresser over here as well. So probably the only thing which I feel could have been improved for this layout type would be that they could have maybe done like a walk-in wardrobe for a 5-bedroom, or maybe they could have also done like a his and her sink here in the master bath to, you know, exude a little bit more luxurious feel. So yeah, that's probably what I feel they could have done a little bit better. Otherwise, at 1,453 square feet, a very good square feet size for this kind of layout here at Toa Payoh. Because if we were to look at Toa Payoh as a whole, in the supply of 5 bedrooms here in Toa Payoh, you realize that Gem Residences is the only other development that has 5 bedders. And there, over at Gem Residences, which is right next to the Orie, there are only 37 units of 5 bedders here. And as of today, now, if we were to look at Property Guru, there are only 2 properties for sale for 5 bedrooms over at Gem Residences. So you can see that there is definitely a lack of supply of 5 bedrooms here in Toa Payoh. If you are a family and you are looking specifically for 5 bedrooms, maybe because, you know, you have 4 children, or you have your parents or your in-laws living with you, and you do need 5 proper bedrooms, then I would say that it's pretty hard to find in Toa Payoh. Orie will probably be a good option, and then because there's nobody else really selling at this point. Now, looking at Gem Residences and how their 5-bedroom compares to ours, Gem Residences 5-bedroom stands at 1,313 square feet. They have no private lift, and in fact, if you look at the living and dining area, it is a landscape, which I do think might be what most people might prefer. But however, their kitchen area here is really much smaller as compared to the Orie's. You can see that it's a U-shaped kitchen. There's hardly any space, I would feel, for any countertop space, or, you know, for you to do your meal preparation. The store is quite small as well. If your helper goes in there, then there's really not much space for you to store your storage anywhere else. And also, if you look at the bedroom 4 and bedroom 5, they can only fit a single bed. So I feel that's also where they really lose out, because you can't put a queen size bed in there. And of course, they have no junior master. They have master bath, a bath 1, and then actually their bath 3 is quite a big size actually in their kitchen area. So looking at this, at 1313 square feet, I feel that there were a lot of wasted space that went into this balcony over here at the kitchen area. It might have been a little bit unnecessary. And of course, they do have quite a big aircon ledge size as well. 1313 square feet pre-harmonization compared to us at 1453 post-harmonization. You can see how the space is much more well utilized here at the Orie. So of course, in the resale market, once the Orie TOPs and hits in the resale market, if buyers were to compare between Gem Residences 1313 5-bedroom versus the Orie's 1453 5-bedroom, I do feel that the Orie will have a winning edge over here in the resale market. So now let's also look at why having a lack of supply of 5 bedrooms actually stands to benefit yourself as a buyer. If we were to look at this nearby property here, which is actually Jadescape, which TOP just last year, their 5-bedroom at 2,099 square feet, there are only 39 units over there. So you can see at the entire area around it, 1 kilometers away as well, 5, 6, 4-bedroom, there is also a lack of supply. There's not many 5-bedders over there. So if we were to look at how much the owners of the 5 bedrooms made at Jadescape, they all made quite a pretty handsome profit, simply because this is the power of the lack of supply. When there is a lack of supply and yet there is still enough organic demand, naturally the first owners, they will stand to make good profits. And so with that, we have come to the end of the analysis of all the bedroom types over here at the Orie. Do note that the preview is happening on 3rd January, and of course our booking day will be 18 January 2025. So if you're keen to find out a little bit more or to have a look at the show flat, just do contact me and I'll be happy to guide you along. Thank you.